Reframing Mindset podcast, where I clear my head of the thoughts that are preventing clarity, practice my speech, among other things. Episodes range from informative knowledge to funny stories about my experiences, and in the future, maybe include interviews. So subscribe and enjoy. Episodes drop every other day. Okay, welcome back to Reframe Mindset Podcast. My name is Constant Brooks, and in this episode, I'm going to talk about in the fourth year of home ownership, and this is going to be the thing for successful years. We're talking about upgrading the house. Boom, first year, how this will make it through the house and stuff like that. Then, boom, fourth year, what you're installing security and all this stuff. I'm telling about a story about days when there was no security. You know, no lock, no locks on, nothing like that. But now we have security and all these stuff. We have these stuff. But we're going to realize I talk about storage and upgrading storage. Secure and getting when you upgrading storage, you're going to realize getting rid of old storage. We're going to realize security. So boom, you do your stuff and you upgrade the security as you like. And then this is the next thing. Sometimes I don't there's a go out and actively saying, okay, I'm gonna upgrade my security. What happens that your old security measures got old. Like boom, you have a lock and it rust and all these stuff. And you out there say you're a homeowner and you have nothing, you know nothing about homes and all these things. So what happens now is that boom out there so get rusty. But if you're a person like me, poor, not cheap or whatever they call it, bro, it's like you're at this new level now where out there's a homeowner. You never been this before. You never been this before. And you're out there, so you're a homeowner with the same cheap mindset, bro. So what way is that you have all these old security stuff. And what happens now is that each year now you're gonna actually realize it. You're gonna start thinking about upgrading your security. You're gonna start thinking about upgrading everything. And it's gonna be more possible to upgrade everything. But the task is now to actually know how to properly get rid of all the other old security stuff. Right? And this is very important. Right? And this is going to be the essence of every single thing you're doing and getting out of policy and stuff. Each time you upgrade, the real question is going to be how you get rid of all the old stuff from the previous level. Right? That's the legit the thing, right? And it's going to be painful every day. And why it's painful? Because you're actually, you know, it's it's so weird, bro. It's actually so painful, bro. 'Cause you're actually not this person, bro. You're actually not this person. You're actually becoming a new person with each one of these changes. And what happens is that you actually know these stuff. You actually know that these changes have to be made, but it's like yeah. So what happens is that with each security and each purchase, you're gonna realize that. So with certain stuff, like this is the fourth year of ownership and buying stuff in general, buying stuff. You're gonna realize that you can actually carry stuff for so long. Cause like boom, I remember the days, bro. I could not even afford a certain phone, and then I actually reach a point where I actually do something like get rid of those phones and stay with somewhat cheaper phone. Because what if you listen to the episode where I talk about storage and stuff like that, at this point in time, the phone quality, I could not. The phone quality is not the highest brand. It wasn't the highest brand. It wasn't the flagship model and all these stuff. It wasn't the flagship model. But what I realized was that at this point, I actually got enough usage of the phone to realize, okay, the flagship model at this point in time at that level. I realized that okay. Or if you actually listen to the episodes, you realize that I realized that what happened was that all this time you're gonna realize that the issue that I have wasn't hardware or stuff like that. It was actually out there, so getting rid of all the soft, uh, getting all the storages, the data stored, so that I can actually just move all these stuff. And yeah, so yeah, with this, so with upgrading security and all these stuff, you're going to realize that the thing you're going to look at now is actually getting rid of all the old stuff. Like there's a upgrading stuff. So that's the thing. We're basically out there. So out with the old, in with the new. That's with everything. Like at some point, yeah, you're gonna actually realize that no, no matter how much the old way is actually hindering the new way. Like, no matter how much there's a trend, like the old way is actually hindering the new way, and it's feeling weird, like weird. So it's like that. So that's the thing. With everything, you're going to realize that the old way of like upgrade. So that's the thing when you actually reach this level where I am at. You're going to actually realize that at certain point, fixing the old problem, you have to actually just change to the new. I mean, actually, change to the new. You actually have to start getting rid of the old. But at this level, it's way more complex. It's very much complex, like very much complex, because you're listening to me now, but you're listening to a very complex me now. You're listening to me now, a driver, bro, with tangible stuff. No, yeah, that's the thing. You're just listening to me in the idea form. You're listening to me in the idea form. Listen to me out there. Back in the days, you were listening to me in the idea form, bro. You actually see me in tangible. You see intangible stuff, bro. You see tangible stuff, bro. It's like, oh my god. You actually see intangible stuff, bro. So it's like, yeah. So it's like, that's it. That's the thing where you're actually seeing the theory, but slowly you're getting the real thing. And it's like, oh, that's all that actually goes. So it's like yeah. So boom with security, everything starts small. Everything that starts small, and you basically upgrade. So like with everything, you have to actually sit down now and actually figure out. I have to actually start get rid of the old. Like I not only not basically get rid of the old, but there's acknowledging this is what we have. This is what we're sticking to this year in the fourth year. This is the house. Oh, there is this kind of security now for the home. Oh yeah, we can actually do that now. But you know, when acknowledge that, it'll be like, oh, yeah, we actually do that now. When to do with that, bro, is you have to actually get rid of stuff now. So that boom upgrade from the normal locks to safety locks now that rain resistance and all this stuff. So I still have these rain resistant locks. But if you actually reach the level where I might actually do the work, look, what if these rain resistant locks were actually good somewhere else? Like, oh, and those are the stuff, like, boom, all this, that's the thing, it's coming out of poverty, and that's the hard thing of coming out of poverty, where you have these art ideas, and it's hard to get legit people to actually come in and teach you legit stuff. You actually go with that. So it's like, oh, this you come from a certain area, and it's like, these safety things at this place. And that's the thing. Some things makes sense one place, but it doesn't work. Or this safety lock makes sense here, and you're out there, so get rid of a whole safety lock, that could make you, cause you're out there, when you're getting rid of the whole and you're throwing it away, you're out there, so basically throwing it away. Yeah, actually, you're not making any money. You're basically like you're throwing it away. So it's like, yeah, you're out there, so getting rid of it, and it's like, yeah. But next thing you know, you get rid of it, and then you realize that, oh my God, this use case is perfect somewhere else. And I talk about one man trash and another man treasure. It's a new location. This rusted thing is the perfect thing elsewhere that would cost millions. I'm not just throwing it away, bro. It's like, so that's the complex thing about security. It's like out with the old, in with the new, but you have to actually know what the new is. Yeah. Cause and that's not the complex part, because what is actually listening to to back in the days and looking where I'm coming from. And yeah, it's hard to tell that are we they're you're there, so what happens that you had arrogance of the youth. We are coming out and you feel like, oh my God, they know everything and stuff like that. And then reality hit, you have wisdom. I be like, oh yeah, you actually didn't know as much as you think. But then, but then, it's actually upgrading stuff, bro. Actually doing stuff. Actually upgrading stuff. I can't even tell, bro. Like, these are your plays now. It's like, oh, you actually have to go, you're going out and actually have to go out and do these stuff. Going out and think about, oh, security. Like, like things like keeping keys, keeping key management. These are things to talk about in the 40th ownership. And that's the thing. These are things that I would grow and take for granted that, yeah, it does. In the older years now, it actually doesn't make. It's actually, you're actually becoming more poor in not doing these stuff where it be like key management. Like that's literally something like you're going up in some home, and I talk about furnitures and shelf life, and realizing that, oh, I go up in a home where I see certain furnitures, and I'm thinking like, oh, these furnitures were here, just like the Bible would be like, oh my God, this Bible have been here forever. Like for centuries since the beginning of time. And it's like, oh, what happens that, oh, my grandmother at one point did have these stuff. She actually went out and bought it. So she actually bought the furniture. And what happens that you see a perfectly nice furniture, and then when you are born, you were a child once, and then maybe you were the child that actually get rid of all these keys and all these stuff. I know you're old now. I know you're old now. You're in the years where you actually have to actually have to get up and pull yourself up by the bootstrap, as they say. And you realize that, oh my God, bro, all these keys, bro, that I'm out there, so, all these stuff without keys, proper keys, and all these stuff. All those stuff don't make sense. All those stuff don't make sense. Like, legit, all those stuff don't make sense. Is you actually have to have proper key management and actually have religious stuff. Like that's basically what you see in the 40th ownership in the youth, in the youth, all those child stuff were laughable. And they weren't even laughable back then with the girl. They weren't even laughable back then, but now you're old enough and realize that, yeah, they were actually not laughable for a reason. So that's the thing about in the 40s, like, oh yeah, you have to actually sit down and realize that, yeah, these things don't grow on trees. These things don't grow on trees. They're born with all these stuff. And we have to take our time to actually go through and take our time to appreciate these stuff. appreciate the slow phase. Cause the thing about exponential phase, bro, that is the turbo phase, bro. I believe these not very realize it yet. The exponential phase is actually the turbo phase. Bro. Like, but those long phase, bro, those are the days, those are the chill phase, bro. And be like, oh my god, this is the new level unlock. But when actually, so these are the things we're actually in the new level unlock where we're like, oh, I have to 4 years for ownership now. And this stuff like, yeah. it this is what the reality. Because what you weren't a homeowner once. You're basically was a person going to school. You're a person. They have responsibilities back in the days and all these stuff. They're going to relate to our next episode. I talk about. These are all these stuff. All this are talking about. It wasn't basically. And yes, I'm out this recording the night against you might hear crickets. Yes, yes, because bro, this is what we're doing. So yeah, like back in the days, you you're out there upgrading security and all these stuff. What how to actually and so the new level is actually to sit down and actually how to properly get rid of the old stuff. Like so that that's the new level in this 4 year ownership and thing that you're acknowledging what is the old and these things will happen overnight. No, I know you actually don't want it to happen overnight. Because you're going to miss it. That's because, for example, when my family comes over and clean up the house, bro, they're throwing away all these stuff, bro, that in reality should be thrown away. I don't know why they are being thrown away, so I don't want them to throw away, bro. Yeah. So that. So that's the thing we actually learned in this 4 year home ownership where we're like, oh yeah, security, like everything else. It's going security didn't start out as some security didn't start out as security. You just started as something, and then now we're here. And then when we're here now, is like, oh, the new level is actually are basically what I'm saying that there was a point in time with everything we weren't where we were. We weren't we weren't yeah, we weren't as rich as we were. And it's sometimes hard to get accustomed to and the rate of getting rid of the old is going to get fast. And it's gonna be like wow bro. Like legit yesterday I was over there so praying for these opportunities, bro. Yeah, that's actually wild, bro. Alright. Same back in the days I was actually not praying for this. I was just chilling out, you know. But yeah, but that's basically it. That's basically it. Yeah, for this episode. Yeah, that's basically it for this episode. Thank you for listening and for the next episode.
Well, this is the end of the episode. Thanks for watching and look forward for the next episode. To support this podcast, go to anchor.fm/cssb/support or become a sponsor for this episode. If you have a product that you want to have more exposure, DM me on the Instagram page Reframing Mindset Podcast or on Twitter at ReframingP. Either way would help. Thank you regardless for listening, and here's a preview for the next episode.